also I have a question, because I know that's what you've all come in for. So I'm going to get started now because, you know, there's 3 of you here. So the question is possessive sister-in-law. And I had to go away and really think about this one before I answered it, because it's not an easy one. And I can understand why the person has sent me this question, because I can understand why they would be feeling pretty stuck. And when I read you the question, you'll understand too. Hello. I was just listening to your mother-in-law talk today, and it came at a good time because lately I've been having issues with my sister-in-law. I have been dating my partner for 3 years now, and we are in a serious relationship, live together. My partner's sister seems to have trouble adjusting to a serious girl. We are nearly the same age in her brother's life, as she has taken no effort in getting to know me or even have a conversation with me during my relationship with my partner. There has been a previous flare-up where there was a confrontation between the sister and me in regards to her behaviour, but it turned ugly when the mother-in-law told my partner that she thinks he should break up with me. Thankfully, my partner and I worked through it, and I feel that he is loyal to me and puts me first in mind. That's good. After the flare-up, my partner and his sister's relationship did dissolve a little after he ended up confronting her about her behaviour. Now they have started talking more, and she has been coming over to our house a lot recently as my partner is helping her on a project. But the situation is still not resolved, as she, once again, barely says 2 words to me before her and my partner work on her project. Since the previous flare-up and after my partner and I have worked through it, I haven't let it bother me so much when I see her at family gatherings, but I think because she's coming over to our house and that she doesn't even take the time to say hello really bothers me, as I find it quite disrespectful. And it is. You can see here she's in a similar space to what I talked about with the mother-in-law question, in that she is creating her worst fear. In fact, she's created it because she lost her relationship with her brother for a period of time. My partner can see her behaviour but doesn't want to say anything to her because I think he fears that it would cause an argument between me and him and the family again, and he probably feels really caught in the middle. He also is making excuses for her, as she has told him that she doesn't want to say anything to me just in case she offends me. Which I feel is just her getting her way. I feel that I want to call her out on it because after the confrontation between her and me, I haven't said anything at all, and I feel it's time I need to speak up for myself, as I think she feels she can get away with acting like this and in front of my partner. My question is, how do you call out someone when they barely say anything at all, and their answering argument is that they technically aren't behaving nasty? So basically, they are not doing anything wrong, and especially in my case, I feel I need to tread lightly, otherwise I feel it may spark a flare-up again. And I had to really go away and think about this one because I really understand you are caught in a bind. But I think I've got an answer for you that I think you will find helpful. Okay, first of all, I want to explain to you what's going on here. And it goes back to, and I know I sound like a broken record here, but fear of loss. And it's raining, Roma. It's raining. Great big heavy drops, but at least it's cooling down. Okay. So we're going back to fear of loss. So what's happened is I think your sister-in-law has great fear of loss of her brother. And you being a similar age, and you're on the money with this, I mean, you picked up on this in your letter. You being the same age, she's scared she's going to lose her brother, and the very behaviour that she's putting out there of rejecting you and being nasty to you has in fact created the very thing she dreaded, because her relationship with her brother was was spoiled for a time. So, but what I'm thinking is that there's something going on here where she doesn't quite know what to do, and that's to do with the dynamic in the family. And what I'm seeing, and you may even see this with your partner, I don't know, or maybe he's had enough reflective thinking that he's moved through this, but what I'm seeing is this all or nothing thinking as a way of managing anxiety. So it's a way of being in control. You know, it's my way or the highway. It's either yes or no. There's no black and white. So when your partner went to his mother to talk about the blow up between you and your sister-in-law, her reaction was, well, then you should break up with her. There's no grey area. It's yes or no, black or white. You've got the daughter who can't manage her feelings of jealousy, so she hates you. She either likes you or she hates you. There's no in between. Yeah? She either talks to you or she doesn't talk to you. Very black and white thinking. Hi, Helen, how are you? So there's something here about emotional maturity and insight to think about the long-term effect of this behaviour. Because clearly you're saying to me, this is a committed relationship. My partner and I are really happy. It feels like I'm in this for the long haul is the sense I'm getting. And so your mum-in-law or your partner's mother and your sister-in-law are not getting it, that if they behave, I'm not saying the mother-in-law is, but certainly the sister, if she behaves like this, then you know, she's basically not setting things up for it to be a good relationship in the long haul, is she? And of course, you know, I don't know, maybe even the sister's being triangulated through the mother. Maybe the mother doesn't like you and somehow the sister's shooting her bullets. I don't know. Look, I'd have to know a little bit more about it to be able to comment on that. And that may or may not be meaningful to you. But the end result is you've got a family here that are not thinking with emotional intelligence, put it that way. And it feels to me like you're quite evolved and you're doing a lot of reflective thinking, which is great. And so you're battling with trying to put that out there with a family that just are not in the same space as you are. So your motivation is you want respect from her, yeah? You want a relationship with her and you want respect from her. If you ask her for that outright, you say to her, you know, and you've recognised this in your letter. If you say to her, look, you're disrespecting me by coming to my house and not speaking to me, I think you'll have another blow up. In fact, what I think she'll do is she's setting this up that she can use it against you, which is a bit scary, because I can see her saying, if you say anything to her, saying, I didn't say anything. It wasn't me. See, I didn't cause a problem. She hates me. I can see that a mile off, and so can you, because you've mentioned that in your letter. So, what are you going to do about it? So, I've got two options here. The first one is you can have a conversation. Dangerous territory, but you can do it. Now, what I would suggest, and the reason I say dangerous territory is because you've told me you've had a flare-up before. So she's, you know, already there's an angst between you. So you're going to have to handle this really carefully. So I first, number one, would insist your partner is present. And the reason I would insist that is that she can't then tell herself that you're talking to her without his knowledge. She also, you know, which means that, you know, it's another way of her justifying that her brother is somehow being manipulated in or something like that. And also, she can't take your words and twist them. Okay? So I would insist that your partner is there, and I would be very careful with your words. So the worst thing you could say to her is, I know you're scared that I'm going to steal your brother away from you, which, you know, as I've explained to you and you're aware of, is her innermost feeling. Because that's going to get her really defensive. And she will just turn around and say, no, I'm not. And it'll flare up. That would be the very worst thing that you could do. So how are you going to speak to him? I would say the best thing you can do is to use what I call a shit sandwich. And so what you're going to do is you're going to say really nice stuff. You're going to say some heavy stuff, but it's going to be very carefully worded. And then you're going to say some nice stuff again at the end. Okay? And you're going to be doing this in a really evolved way. So you're going to say something like, I notice that every time you come over, you barely speak to me, and it makes me feel really sad. Okay? Don't use disrespect, because that's the word disrespect, because that's putting you on a higher plane, as if she's got to respect you. And in fact, you need to respect her too, as your partner's sister. So I wouldn't use the word disrespect. You can use it between us because that's how you feel, but I would use the word sad. I would like to think that you would want to speak to me as I'm your brother's partner and part of his life. So that's stepping into the shit in the sandwich, right? I would really like to be able to have a friendship with you, and at the moment when you don't speak to me, I can't see how that can happen. So can you see how I'm kind of, naming it how it is, but trying to couch it in something nice? I want to be someone to support you like your brother does, because as much as I care for your brother, I also care for you as a sister. So what you're doing is you're saying to her, I want to respect you and I want you to respect me back. So you are teaching her, remember I've talked a lot about the boundaries we call and how we treat people is teaching them how we want them to treat us. So you are teaching her, you are saying, I want to respect you as your brother's sister. I want to be there for you. I want to, and I'm wanting this back from you. It would be so nice if you would let me get to know you. I know that in the past we've had words, and I'm really upset that this has happened. It would be so good if we could work through our differences and be friends. So you are naming the fact that she's locking you out, but you're couching it in, I want to be your friend. And you're pretty much saying, you're not using the word love, but you're saying, I care for you like I care for your brother. Yeah? And I want to do the right thing. So that, it would be how I would do it. Now, I would be really careful here, because to hold on to your words like that, you're going to need to feel really strong, because you're going to tap into her feeling of loss of her brother. You're talking about this idea that she's coming over and working on this project with her brother. She's spending time with her brother, and you're letting her know that that that's important to her, and that maybe that deep inside that's how she's feeling, and she might feel a sting with that. So you need to be really mindful that you're going to need to be in a really strong place to be able to hold on to your words. Really important. So I'm giving you another alternative of how you might handle it. So what you might do is write her a short letter. Put it into a nice card, and again, you can use my words as a template to put your, I'm not telling you to use my words exactly. You need to put it into your words and make it sound like you. Otherwise, it's not going to sound as if has integrity. However, you could put those words in writing. Now, you need to be very careful what you put in this letter, because if she decides to be, hi Xana, if she decides to be particularly horrible, she could decide to show it to everybody, which would not be nice. So you need to be very careful that if someone else read it, that they think that what you have written is very reasonable and very kind and very caring and shows that you are reaching out. Yeah? You need to make sure that your partner knows what you're going to do and that he's seen the letter. Very important. What I would suggest is that when she comes over, you just go up to her, smile at her, and hand her the card. Give it to her. She may open it on the spot. She may decide to open it later. That then gives her a chance. What I like about this approach is that then gives her a chance to either read it on the spot, and then if she wants to say something to you, she can. If she wants to say nothing, she can. If she wants to go away and read it later, she can. And it means she can decide if she wants to acknowledge it or not, and she can decide how she wants to move forward without there being any words. She can come in the next time and say hi. She can decide how she wants to say hi, and then that could give you the opportunity to respond. That's what I like about that approach. The bad part about it is, of course, you know, she could decide to be really horrible about it. You're going to have to be very careful of the wording in the letter. And my hope is that those words I've given you are really helpful to you. So that's two approaches you can take. It's not going to be easy because the two of you have had a flare-up before. But I do understand where you're coming from. It is not okay for her to come into the house and not speak to you if it's your house too. And if you let this go, you are compromising your boundaries, and you run the risk that you'll get so resentful that you'll just crack it. And that's not helpful. It's far more helpful if you can speak to her in a way that acknowledges trying to rebuild a relationship between the two of you. That's really important. So I hope that's helpful to you. And I think that's all I've got to say on the question. So I do hope that the person that wrote it, if they're not here, comes back in and has a listen. If you have any further questions that you would like to ask me, you can always write to me again. And